Greetings, I am Lies, and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal, and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together.
Alright,
so we left a cliffhanger on this last time, going, we weren't really sure exactly, or my friend, what to choose. And so my friend has had plenty of time to think about it since then.
I was sure at the time, and then honestly, so what happened was I got off the game, and I was like, this will be great, I'll come back, I'll pick, you've already been so generous thing, ha ha ha, tee hee hee. And then I stopped.
My friend had an amazing realization.
I realized that there are exactly 3 people in this scene. And I mean this in like quite literally, basically. So what we have is we have Nadia. I guess you could say we have 4 because there's Nadia, and then there's the way you're playing Nadia. And then there's also Corazon. And there's also the actual character they wrote.
The MC. So
the main character themselves. So,
one of the things that we've, of course, noticed is that Corazon has a lot of different opinions than the main character on the page, if you will. And a lot of people do make fan MCs or their own MCs, especially throughout the fandom that we've seen, that are wildly different than what the game really dictates. And so we really...
Which is cool and fun.
I was going to say, and the game does suggest that you should be able to play sort of whomsoever you would like to. So the intention is to play whoever we'd like to, but also to consider who the game assumes is here, which is the MC that is written in.
Yes, which means in some way I'm basically going to be doing a form of metagaming, of recognizing that while I will make choices, basically in reference to what they've written, that is not necessarily what is... I'm going to have to rationale it with the character that I have.
I say we have to realize that basically these 2 choices, what they mean is, 1... I'm deferring. You've already been really, really generous. No, don't do anything else for me. Or 2, I know I don't understand or believe that I have the freedom to come and go. So it's either I defer and I just assume I don't have that freedom and I won't ask, or I ask because the MC that was written for this game assumes they don't have it.
And considering what we've seen prior to this, the MC that they have written is incredibly submissive. Which
is a bit shy and submissive. Not as much as the one in Julian's route so far. Sort of.
I mean, we have the same thing. So but
at any rate, if the character that they've written in is trying to either be polite one way by not asking too much, or trying to assure that they actually have what they don't think they have, trying to actually set either a boundary or give themselves access, we think that that's what would be needed here.
Yes, so in the context of the story itself, would probably need to assert with Nadia, based off of that character of, I want the freedom to come and go.
We will assume that Corazon does not think they have it, but we're going to play it fun.
Oh, yeah, well, and in this case, this could be a flirty, I want the freedom to come and go. To my surprise, Nadia only smiles at the demand. She brushes her thumb over my knuckles, taking a step closer.
My word, Corazon, you've always been free to go. What gave you an impression otherwise?
So, and it's also interesting to know that basically where Corazon is a self-assured character going, I recognize basically for me of what I expect for me, that of course I would be able to come and go. But that would put them on equal footing with Nadia, and in the story, the character arc of the characters, as far as I can tell, is supposed to be, I'm going to go from me probably being more shy and submissive to basically asserting myself and going, no, I really am, you're not just my leader. You're not just my boss.
It did seem like they were writing there as a please come out of your shell, but we've put you in a really small shell.
Right?
Okay, and in this case, Corazon is approaching Nadia as an equal at all times, if you will. Corazon is not, my station is lower than you. Corazon is, we're both fabulous and this is fine. And we did discuss in the last one that we didn't think Corazon would possibly ever have any reason to think they can't come and go as they please. So the fact that the dialogue option was there at all meant we had to consider it.
Which was really disorienting, though, too.
It was meaning the game was telling you, you need to consider this, which was wild. Yeah, it was weird. All right.
You gave me a room and kept dressing me.
Or at least giving me clothes.
You tried to keep dressing me. I assumed.
I see. My mistake. I simply provided what I thought you might need and potentially might want. Corazon.
Which I think is really interesting. While I'm in for power play dynamics and stuff like that, I think it's fascinating that they're like, oh, oh yeah, we're going to actually interact with them.
See, that line to me, this one specifically, really does say that Nadia didn't realize that she could be seen as controlling or overbearing in any way. So she sounds like she's expecting equal treatment straight out from the gate, in the same way that, you know, we sort of both fed each other in the premium scene kind of thing, and where she's upfront with you and more honest and direct than Julian was, you know?
Right.
And so there is this level of, it seems like the game is expecting that we are being bowled over by someone just being confident and comfortable with themselves and assuming it's domineering.
Yes.
Because she doesn't seem domineering or bossy, the classical woman label.
As we pointed out, for Nerd, that was wild. Because it was overbearing. Mm-hmm. Like, completely. Which works.
But if you have a character that isn't shy and insecure and introverted, if you have someone that isn't socially awkward, that is confident, it doesn't really seem to work.
Yeah, so we're going to have an interesting level of having to double game.
We're going to do our best to play the character that we've come up with and have fun like we do, but that was sort of a realization. So now we're going to move forward the way we usually do, but we just really felt this was the time to cover that.
Yes!
It pleased me to see you accept my hospitality. If you wish to leave, you need only say so. And by that, I mean, you don't have to tell me when you come and go. I simply hope it is for your own reasons, and none I've given you. Even though I have employed you and asked you to do a service for me, I hope you're not leaving because of the service you're doing for me. That's so wild.
But that's it. That's if you wish to.
No, I know. Yeah. I just...
we're having a different layer of a conversation there. It's okay.
You expect me to investigate this murder. Yes, but I don't want you to leave the castle for that reason, because that's a reason I gave you.
Obviously, that would be a reason, yes. Well... No.
No.
I didn't mean I wanted to leave. I just meant I wanted to know I could. I wanted to hear you say it. Out loud.
Oh.
Nadia? That's
you
all.
like permission and praise. I would never seek to steal your independence from you, Clarissa.
That would be dumb.
that would be what a thing to try and steal.
Woo! I feel the loss of heat keenly as Nadia pulls away from me and strolls to the edge of the bridge.
Very deliberately sliding her hand off you and very poignantly moving slightly further away.
She leans against the railing and peers down into the water, hair whipping in her face as a cold night wind. There's a lovely tinkling sound as her jewelry rattles against itself.
Except for I'm still counting that she's actually in her sleeping clothes because she was asleep. So
she would, yeah. She
no jewelry. She just has her hair flying wild and loose, which I think would be awesome.
I think she looked great.
I
reach out and gently gather the silky locks, brushing them over her shoulder. She glances at me.
It's a good thing Nerd wasn't in this route. They would never have been ballsy enough to do
this
that.
Would have been wild.
They'd have been like, I stand over here and watch and give her space.
Hello! She is also the Countess. What the fuck? Delight dances across her features as she reaches up in turn, brushing a stray piece of hair, which I do not have, off my cheek.
Gently stroking your cheek.
Just gently stroking your cheek.
Your boldness, as always, delights. See, she's encouraging you constantly to treat her as an equal. Like, it sounds like everybody around me is super submissive, and I come from, a place that this is standard. Either I am a person that just is, strong, confident, basically sets good boundaries, states what I want, that kind of thing. Or I even have a history of being used to having people around me that are like that.
Right.
Where does it come from? Not the town, because damn, those people are peasants.
Whoa. What do you mean?
Perhaps it is brash of me to assume, but I imagine you have never been in such close proximity to nobility. Yes?
Oh, I'm sorry. Every day I get up.
Every day I am with myself.
And I am
royalty. Like, cortisone, hashtag royalty.
Yes.
Hashtag feeling royal.
I
love this. To nobility, yes? Most people are intimidated by my title.
No, I have. It's me.
Other than me.
Other than myself, not really. Not as far as as I can remember.
And yet, you would dare touch me without an invitation. I'll have you know, Corzo, most would.
Pity. Too bad for them. She reaches out, lightly running a hand over my arm before letting it rest on my elbow.
I'm allowed to touch people without permission. And theoretically, people could touch me, but they don't. They just don't. And so I wonder, why are you so bold towards me? You are quite a curiosity. I feel like she's saying this really in like incredible innuendo flirting. Like you're just staring deep into the other person's eyes, and you've got that sort of like slightly cocky grin of going, why are you being so bold with me? When you know it's because they're interested.
Oh, yeah. It's just plausible deniability, yeah.
But it's just sort of, I feel like it's a fun way to flirt of going, oh, do you like me? You know?
Shock.
You are quite the curiosity.
It's not that I mean to disrespect her. I'm just much better than that. I suppose maybe my master never gave me protocols for interacting with nobility because, you know...
Because I scared him off so often once I was of age. Astra, I am terrified of you. And if you're not sure what we are talking about with Astra being terrified, you need to go watch the updated prologue. We have a playlist, so it's the Arcana updated prologue for 2020.
Yes.
It is Corazon's specific prologue. It will explain everything.
Even though what we actually have is now information that prologue is no longer the current prologue again. They changed it back, so...
Or changed it some other direction.
Whatever.
Anyway, when it was released, we did a playthrough. That is Corazon's beginning.
Yep, that's what we did. Or is it more than that? Maybe I just want to touch her. Except, no.
I mean, maybe perhaps I know that I would like to touch her.
It's just the fact of going, oh, or is it this thing?
Huh?
No.
Do I even know my own will? Corazon, yes. Yes, I do. I am not wishy-washy.
I appreciate that you're going through this character development that I have already had too sad for you.
I did that when I was 1.5, excuse you?
I already know what I am.
I love it when, like a 7-year-old walks up to you and you mention something and they're like, I learned that when I was 4, thank you very much.
And you're like,
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Snap back, child, do it.
Good, you got it, you do it, you wreck me.
Perhaps I've given you too much to think about. Maybe I've given you a lot to think about. I apologize for forcing the introspect.
No, just it seems sad that you live in such an untouchable world.
Nadia sort of like stiffens, then shivers. Oh, that's a thing.
Back at the shop. I live in such close quarters.
My master, when he is there,
I win with him. We used to always avoiding each other.
He would always brush up against me when I was young, and then I put a stop to that shit.
And then I said no. No, you go out there.
You have mussed my fashion. You have dislocated my arranged shawl.
Thank you. The answer is no. Changing in the same room, I suppose. It's not like we have nudity problems.
There's not a lot of rooms in that space.
I was just like, hang on, what? Getting ready for our days together. We were around each other.
Community. Household community.
It's one of the first things I do remember. Being gathered up in arms, being held, being comforted. I'm told that's normal.
When I was very small, I liked these things.
Yes, when I
say small, I mean young.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we know the major secret plot point once you've played one round, and I kind of think it would be great if there was a new secret to every single arc.
Right.
But I imagine it's the same secret every time. But I like that they're approaching it differently. It's kind of cool.
Yes. Don't you deserve that much too?
To be comfortable with the people around you? I have been in a coma. Oh, why Corazon? I did not expect such a thoughtful answer. Is that really how the common folk live? You continue to surprise me.
Wow, people touching each other? Whoa. I'm like,
sharing rooms? You did not have your own room? I'm terribly sorry.
This sounds bizarre, especially even considering, like, Nadia's social background, and I'm going, like, based off of what I've seen, her family is incredibly, like, hi, we're around each other, we boink, we touch, you know, no, like, we touch, we don't point, excuse me, whatever.
Bonk into each other. My friend was doing that. I was going to say, but as far as I could tell, we never saw any of them touch each other. Was it specifically mentioned that any of them touch each other? I
imagine that they were basically having a presentation, like, basically going, we're contained, we're controlled because we're in public. But when you're alone and you have that many damn-ass siblings, you never know.
I was going to say you never know, but it's not said that they're close at all. Her entire family could not be close. Or they could be extremely emotionally close and not very contact-oriented at all.
That's true. Because not everybody expresses the same thing.
All we're talking about here is touch. We're not talking about emotional intimacy. We're not talking about connection or familial bonds. She could be profoundly close with her family and her siblings and everything, and just never touch them at all.
And then also at the same time, too, then I would wonder, why does she care so much about you touching her?
It could be one of those things. Okay, let me pause it here real quick, and I'll try to move the story on real fast. Okay, so let's say Nadia is having an experience of an intense crush.
Yes.
So normally she doesn't like people touching her, and she's very happy with the boundaries she has around herself, and she's not a super touchy-feeling person. But when she's being romantic, she really likes contact. So she's specifically contact-oriented in romance context. Mm-hmm. So since she has the doki-doki / feels for you, the strong attraction, she's immediately going, I didn't expect you to take any initiative because really no one touches me. Mm-hmm. But in this one instance, because it is something I actually want, because it's something that's specific to your circumstance, hells yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it can work, but it does feel a little odd for you to be like, but you live in such an isolated world, and her go, woe is me. What a thoughtful response, instead of going, I do, which is appropriate, but you don't have to be isolated from me.
Right, and it's fine.
You continue. To surprise me.
Nadia gestures down towards the water, leaning over the railing once more.
Giving me a really good view of her lines.
Her edges,
in that nightgown.
Experience.
Nightgown gently plastered against her and revealing, okay, men writing women. Her curves being fully revealed in the thin fabric of her nightgown as the wind brushes it across her skin.
I know, right?
Except for you needed to mention boobs 4 more times.
I know. She titted breastily boobily.
She boobed breastily down the stairs.
Below, the eels glide somewhat listlessly in the water, dancing idly together before parting.
I come out here sometimes to watch them. Perhaps it's sentimentality that keeps me returning. I want to know what you're sentimental about.
I know, especially if you don't...
Here we go. This bridge is the last thing I remember before the memory goes blank. I wonder what I was feeling when I arrived. When you arrived at the bridge?
God, that would be so horrifying. You know, you'd be like,
Hang on, when she arrived at the bridge.
Yeah. Before she went into the castle. She mentioned that. When she came here, like 3-4 years ago, whatever she said when she first showed up here.
Right.
That's the last memory she has.
Oh,
is the bridge. That's it.
And she remembers the bridge, but she doesn't remember any of her emotions or her thoughts or her experience?
I was going to mention that's a little weird. Unless, as soon as she got on the bridge itself, everything's just gone, and then arrived here on the bridge, I wonder what I was thinking. Because
as opposed to, obviously, you would know what you were thinking leading up to the bridge.
Yeah.
If you had those memories.
Right.
Like, you would know what brought you to Vesuvia, and because if you had those memories, but then, you wouldn't know what you were thinking on the bridge. All right. Excitement? Apprehension? Did I know what would happen to me then? It doesn't matter. The outcome remains the same.
We watch the eels in silence for a moment. There's something disconcerting about their movements. Almost like they're ill.
Do you know much about eels, Clarissa?
It looks like weird, unnatural fish behavior? I don't know.
I don't know, that's interesting.
They taste good on a plate.
Right?
Are they alright?
They aren't meant to live this far north. Perhaps I should send them back home. They're really ass cold because I brought them here to keep me company, Did you bring a crate of eels with you when you were first coming here?
I'm also like, what kind of eels? I thought these were vampire eels, because we've only mentioned one eel.
Well, in this particular playthrough, we have no idea if it's the same.
No.
So I was gonna say, who knows?
I mean, we've mentioned
the eels didn't eat her swans, so maybe they're a different type.
Ooh, maybe.
Right.
It's true.
I seem to recall they thrive in the winter. Oh, it's warmer in the north.
Oh.
They're too warm because it's warmer in the north.
Oh.
That is interesting.
Okay.
All right. There we have her. And no heavy. No. Thank you for accompanying me tonight. Corazon. With the walk, with the air, with the conversation. I feel much better now.
She leans forward and brushes her lips against my cheek. A slow, deliberate movement, because she wants me to follow every single moment of it. That is why she's doing it, not because she thinks I'm going to dodge it. Why would I?
I was going to say, at this point, she shouldn't think it would startle. You haven't. You've been extremely bold.
Mm-hmm. Heat rushes through me, and I forget all about the chilly night air. Her lips remain trailing to my ear to speak.
Her face gently laid against the side of your head, forehead, leaned up against your head wrap kind of thing, whispering against your ear.
Mm-hmm.
I shall not forget this kindness, Corazon.
There is something in the way she touches me, as if she's hoping I'll return the gesture, as if she's waiting for me to make a move.
Here it comes.
Here comes the consent.
Oh my God, here it comes! There it is. It's a shorter scene now.
Jesus, kill me. Alright, so we're gonna have to pause again because I don't know where this ends.
Alright, so the thing
hang on.
We don't spoil the scenes for ourselves, but we do go and find out where they end, because Nix Hydra has posted a full playthrough that skips over the premium scenes, so it lets us know where to cut off. One moment. Alright, in case you're just here for the premium scene, in accordance with our agreement with Nix Hydra, we are about to enter cover-up art, and we are going to be ad-libbing the scenes. We will tell you everything that happens there, but we will not read any of their actual text. Here we go.
Yes, here we go. So we're going
Corazon is making a move.
move.
Corazon will make their move. Corazon has made several moves. This is only appropriate.
Corazon moves closer. There is a air of, I am going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
There is no concern that she's going to reject you. Like, Corazon cannot, and that is a lie. And going like, it will be nice. I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to land a smooch on your face.
I say there's a level of, yes, like leaning in and pushing the bodies together, and then going, I consider for a moment your consent, and then I decide what to do.
And they're still moving forward. Still silence. Nadia says nothing, watching us. Mm-hmm. It's going bit by bit by bit. And she's still looking at us. She's very expectant. And we're just still going, the tension, it's building.
So Corazon is taking their damn sweet time to move in.
And it's just crushing the space between them with tension and pressure.
Right, the thing is like there's nothing but fabric between them at the moment.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then Nadia finally responds to this incredibly long experience of like tension and anticipation. And she says, Corazon, you really like just encourages.
Do you
Corazon.
need a note?
She's asking Corazon.
Do you need a writ?
If they actually require a formal declaration on paper of consent.
Right.
And suggests that it should be, if indeed they do require such a thing, that she could acquire one of her servants or a service to bring it to them.
Yep. And it will be done in the fancy script.
And it would be the sort of thing of like where you take out, your parchment paper and you get your quill pen and your ink and you write in the flowery letters of I consent, and you fold it up beautifully and you put it in an envelope and then you put that in another envelope and then you put that and you seal it with wax and flowers and gold flakes and you put that in another envelope to protect it and then you like put your perfume on it and tie it in a ribbon and then send it with a courier and then when Corazon deigns to open it, it says, I consent.
Yes.
Nadia. And that's it.
That's all we have. And
then she says, or, like, instead of that.
How about?
What if,
I tell you what to do then. Is that what you're looking for?
She's like, instead of consent, I could just boss you around. I
that's
she's
basically
like,
it.
basically, you taking your sweet time. Why are you going so slow? That's what that was.
Yeah, so, and now we're to another choice, where there is the question of, like, are you sure about this? Are you sure about that? And then also, there is then the thing of,
I'm gonna engage
as well. I'm gonna engage.
Honestly,
and
she goes off on her whole extravagant, like, flirting. I could send this letter, and you could tease back. You could just, like, offer her the same kind of flirting back.
Yes, we said. We could just return the favor.
I think we're gonna do that.
We're gonna return the favor!
Corazon's like,
Corazon is just like, and then it goes on to be like, Corazon is kind of like, this is so silly. And going and acknowledging that because of how pregnant this pause has been, this build-up has been, we're fairly certain that we will age until death do us part. So we must reach a resolution.
If we have to wait for the anticipation any longer.
And then they still have the cheek to acknowledge, going like, you know what, though? It sounds nice. Sort of
make her
play back a little more, because she's just been such a good sport and so flirty. It's so good.
So then Corazon decides to, again, no matter the fact that all the distance between them has been completely closed, they scoot in even further, and in the same way that she put her mouth right next to Corazon's ear. The Corazon's mouth is just right next to hers.
It just brushes up against.
And then skips out and goes, oh, actually, I was just trying to see the view.
Leaning towards?
I wanted to see the view.
Over, it seems your side.
Yes, so it's one of those things of like, you lean way in like I'm going to smooch, and then you just brush past like, what is that thing over your shoulder?
What? Corazon, like, very, like, airily or slightly lightly looking at the cute little eels that are seemingly a little bit distressed and looking for affirmation of, are they truly okay?
Yes.
Is it okay?
Are you confident? Leans full bodily against Nadia, leaning over her shoulder, looking off the bridge. Are you confident?
Are you confident in their okayness?
Nadia,
who
has been pushed up against the railing at this point, bodies completely pressed together, Corazon leaning over their shoulder, that kind of thing. She's backed against the railing, slightly pressed against it because of Corazon. Is like, what? I was
you repeat that?
So caught up in all of the. What?
I was waiting. My eyes were closed.
What?
What? And Corazon is very particular to point out the little wiggly babies, like the wiggly babies. I have such concerns.
I think only of their well-being.
That's all I have.
And then
Nadia, I cannot.
I can't even. She goes from the I am overwhelmed by you being pressed up against me, leaning over me, having done this whole tension and build-up to, I get it. Okay. And then just pauses and the water noodles deeply concern you. Is that so?
The water noodles.
The water noodles.
I
should have guessed.
Corazon is just still, kind of like, of course.
Completely.
Yes. I will reiterate that you said, that their better experience happens when it's
chilly.
What I assume is supposed to be the chillier time. So I'm kind of confused as to like if they're going like it's in like Australia where the temperatures are actually flipped to the northern hemisphere where we live.
But they don't call it winter down there.
They don't. They call it summer. So I don't understand what this is.
But anyway, it's just going. Well, I thought you said that they prefer it when it is chilly.
Yes, when it's the chilly time.
But right now,
it's the warm.
It's the warm time.
It's the warm experience.
And then Nadia is like, goodness, if you are so profoundly invested in the well-being of the water noodles. I'm just going to call it, if we have sea pancakes, we have water noodles. Okay?
We do have water noodles.
Water noodles. My dear Corazon.
Spice noodles.
I nibble noodles.
Nibble noodles, yeah.
If they're eels, they could be.
She's like, I will engage.
She's like, I will address this problem immediately. I shall put my full attention to your concern. I will requisition.
Have a member of the staff come every single
day. I will have someone go forth to the mountains and harvest the solid water, bring it forth and place it in their enclosure on the regular to keep them comfortable so you, my dear, will not have to concern yourself in any way.
Like, please. And then she's like,
and then she says, will that meet with your needs?
Does that suffice?
Does that satisfy you? And your profound interest
in water noodles.
Yes.
Not
at all.
And Corazon is just like, oh.
Nope.
Alas.
I like nope.
There, you see, there happens to be another particular thing that was on my mind. And let me just sort of trail off at a teasing fact.
And in the meantime, Nadia's just pressed against the railing, sort of leaning back into it like, you're really just absolutely against my body. Like leaning over my shoulder, resting your chin against like my neck as you lean over and look kind of thing. Right? Almost cheek to cheek. It's more like cheek to hairline kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I just am here going, you just are keeping me, I will take care of it.
Except that
whatever you need.
No more resistance. No more holding back. There is a huge, full-on smackaroo.
The smooches. The snogging.
Fingers intertwining between the strands on her head.
Yes. The silken length upon her head. Flowery clothes will get us through.
Yes.
Corazon's hands just reach into and hold tightly while they snog for all their life.
And she's just like you can just audible response
like
her going, thank God!
You made me wait so long. The relief of I will just relax into this and also be like,
wrap arms around and
I
cling.
will hold on to you. I am not only entertained, but the tension is cleared. And Nadia just grabs onto Corazon and again snogs as if their life depended on it.
And then she goes.
And then she escalates.
She escalated, man. She take her tooths in her face.
She mimics.
And she nibbles on our mouth.
I was gonna say she mimics the nibble noodles
on her face
and grabs part of Corazon's face in her own and go num num num.
Yeah, you just nibbles on the mouth.
Num num num.
Nibbles on the mouth.
It's that whole thing that happens all the time, in all the romance novels is they bite their lip, except for she did it.
Yep, and still, Corazon is not surprised, so alas, none for you. But definitely
leaning in,
pushes into
receptive and responsive to this chewing of the mouth parts.
Yes,
this gentle, just masticating.
While using the fleshy muscle inside their face.
I was gonna say,
do the licky lick
while putting your orifices together. We're gonna make this so unsexy.
I know.
But it really is like Corazon, like Nadia's super receptive.
We have a battling of the mouths,
and the only thing that was left was mouth-to-mouth combat.
Yes, that's all we had.
And Nadia is also super receptive. What they're displaying here is a very passionate scene where there was tension, pausing, flirting, anticipation, and then your bodies just slammed together like a tidal wave, and then escalation ensued with the romantic smoochy moo.
And it kept going, and finally, Bill Cosby, finally gasping for air, going, we just wanted someone to come along and tell us what else to do. We just kissed and kissed and kissed, and finally our lips were chapped, and
both of them come up for air in the way you do.
Oh, God. I know, isn't it?
So they can't breathe while they're kissing for some reason, and they stop, and they breathe deeply. Everyone breathe deeply.
Yes.
And then there is a level of locking eyes together and a bit of panting and sort of heaving.
Yeah, the chest.
The excitement is very clear.
Very palpable.
All of the signs of both of us have become aroused are present.
Yes, pretty much.
And then
Nadia is sure.
She specifies that if there is any other time that Corazon is concerned about the nibble noodles in even the slightest and makes it known to her,
she will resent us.
She will absolutely shut us down and be completely just put out. She would be so put out, like a candle at bedtime.
How could you?
She's basically just
think about the nibble noodles one more time,
and I will just
And Corazon is just very suave in the sense of going like, no, I got what I wanted. You totally
satisfied.
Well.
You satisfied all of my needs.
You satisfied all of my curiosities.
Hi.
And then, of course, the
whooshing that's been happening of the weather in the sky,
right?
Where you can hear it but not see it, and it moves the fabric pleasantly against the skin, and it's chilly. finally comes back, and everybody realizes that it's not warm outside.
Yeah, it's a little toast, actually. A little chilly.
Nadia disengages.
Oh, is this what I read? Actually, I think. The previous one. Yeah,
This is the
scene.
I was like, no. All right, so that was the hottest makeout session in like 4 frames,
in the
basically.
4 rounds.
Like it was I just mean like there weren't very many lines involved.
Oh god, there really weren't.
There really weren't. But you just basically, again, you just like the summary of that scene was the apprentice just grabs Nadia and they both smooch for all they're worth while potentially also like grinding and feeling and petting around each other. And then they pull away and go, damn, kind of chilly outside.
It's kind of abrupt, actually.
Like, that's what that was.
Nadia pulls back, though she keeps one hand on me, wrapped gently around my wrist.
Ah.
Why wrist?
Waist. I think waist.
I think waist.
Because it was around the waist.
It was around the waist.
Nadia just chooses waist.
Hi.
I would be quite the poor host if I allowed you to freeze to death. In summer, no less. And poorer still if I did not escort you back to your room. Come now, before the sun rises and makes me the poorest host of all.
Oh, I would lose you.
Imagine if I had kept you up all night on your first night as a guest. Just think about what it would have been like. How terrible of me.
Is that a promise? There's a bounce to her step as she leads us back through the halls of the palace. A lightness that wasn't there before.
She's like that with someone that's young and has just confirmed that their crushes back on them. And so they just kind of frolic slightly. That's sort of like slightly smug but really happy, like lighthearted thing.
Honestly though, like I have to say, I am still sort of wildly amazed how quickly people just slam into like these relationships. Like it's a little mind-boggling to me, but that's okay.
But we are leaning in.
Yes, she seems almost carefree. Every so often, she sneaks a sly glance back at me before continuing on.
She has slid eventually her hand off of your waist, down your arm and into like actually holding hands. And she's kind of like skipping / lightly frolicking in front of you to sort of show off her curves and bounce her hair and clap her feet gently on the floor.
Like we're in on the same joke or share some secret between us.
Which, in fact, you do.
But we'll have to continue sharing it in the next one. So, hey, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also share our videos if you are having a good time with us.
Yes.
Please also feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi and our Patreon. We have some links in the description down below. And I have been Scandal.
And if you would like more shenanigans related to this, or you would like to help promote us through Tumblr and see all of our memes, you can check out our Tumblr blog. We also announce when we're doing updates there sometimes, and when we're streaming, and so it is a way to be better connected to us.
Yes!
And I have been Lights.
And it was great playing with you.
Bye!